I would just say in the case that, well, let's go to my story then. The most recent one that I'm thinking of, letters went out immediately. And they were, in their case, I think because of scale, they didn't do a, hand deliver.
Okay, they mailed
And
them.
that's, yeah, they mailed them. But that's, of course, always, especially with the 24th. We recently did one of those too, where when it's at the end of the month, that's tough because you have your good early payers and some of your slower payers. So,
Hmm.
yeah, that's most definitely a tougher time, but I'd say getting something out is definitely most important.
Okay. So depending on the size, mail it. If it's a smaller size, like we had 12 units, we just taped them to their doors. What are some of the key items that this welcome letter should say? And then I guess maybe what are some things that you shouldn't say? I've got an example of something you shouldn't say if you want to hear that. 'Cause
Yeah, go with that. Go with
well,
that.
so what we did is we put an original welcome letter on there on like right away. I think you put it on there on we close on a Thursday and we put them on there on a Friday, and it just said, here's our name. I actually got a template online, and it said, here's our name, all of our contact information. We're taking over the property. Your lease terms are going to stay the same. Your rents are going to stay the same. Only thing that's going to change is the method of payment, as well as obviously a maintenance request, because you're not going to be asking maintenance from the old owner. And I put the rent payment process, which is either send us a check in the mail or this online service we're using, and I had our address on there, and as well as like who to write the check out to. And then we had how to submit maintenance requests. So we want to do ours through email, just because I don't want my personal cell phone blowing up all the time.
Right.
And then I think that was it. I think at the end we mentioned that we were going to send another letter out in the middle of August, so we can go in there and meet everyone and potential and re-sign leases. And then at the time, as we spoke before, and I'm sure people that listen to my experience understand, we didn't understand what the rents were, and so we thought they were really low. And so we also put that we're going to go in there and increase your rent we're going to increase your rent, but since you've been such loyal tenants, we're going to give you a discounted market rate, whatever, but again, whatever that means. And so I did that, and then we got 4 responses out of the 12 by Tuesday, which was a week before rent was due. And so I told myself that I would like to have everything set up a week beforehand, because I know it takes a while to mail a check, and if they're submitting their payment online, set their bank account information up and things like that. And so I sent another letter, and this one was not checked by my girlfriend Marcella, and it was just me, and I'm very like a blunt person, and so I just said, "Hey, I haven't heard back from you. I sent a letter out on this date. Make sure that you either email me or email or send a check to this address by the 1st, because I don't want your rent to be late." And then that's when I got this call from someone saying that the letter was threatening.
Well, you know what? I did hear you say that about the letter being threatening, and I would say be confident in yourself. I would say for the listener's sake, I think you took actually a good, strong, what's
Hmm.
the word? I think a good, firm relationship, keeping it a business relationship is what we see people miss the mark on more than
Mm,
anything. So I think you doing a business-like approach, I don't think you should apologize for that.
I didn't.
Um, no, but I mean, even, as a theory,
Yeah.
I think that is a good theory, and outlining the terms. Maybe putting the increase on the first one might have been a little bit,
Probably.
yeah, right. But to be honest, the scenario we walked through with one of our owners, that was the first order of business. It might not have been in the first letter, but like you said, in your case, the rents turned out to be a different story, but
Hmm.
they had the plans immediately to do that, because generally that does happen when somebody owns a building a long time, rent, and you tenants have been there a long time. The older tenants are way below market rent, so that's
Okay.
common. That's definitely most common. And as we talked about, it's kind of an educational experience to kind of let them get out there and use their cell phone to Google the neighborhood rents, and it becomes
Yeah.
evident that they've got a great deal. So no, I let's go back to that. I like the letter. I like the idea of, outlining the terms. I think those are important things. If I had to say, what checklist would I include? I would definitely include, making sure you have clear communications on what to do with maintenance requests, what to do with the first payments. And I like that you followed up most quickly. I think that is good. I think when we were talking a little bit about C property versus B property,
Hmm.
and I think it's important to mention that there's some kind of, I'll call it behavioral expectations that you want to put out there so that people kind of know this is the expectations that, and always, we always reference the lease. There's no apologizing for the legal document. It is the legal document. Those are the terms. And, you're not trying to be hard or cold, it's just realistic is that here's the terms. And so I think that I think those were good. I think those
Okay.
were very good.